Hey, Mark here. Welcome to Masculine to the Core in our video series on the acronym of the word CORE. You know, men who are masculine to the core are men who are committed, optimistic, resilient, and empowered because they purposefully want to be defined by their masculine walk with God. Today's video is all about the word optimism. Again, I didn't put this together for its entertainment purposes. This is supposed to be an inspirational and transformational message to help you become more God-centered and fulfillment-driven. The word optimism has nothing to do with you seeing the glass as half full. Optimism is a belief system, and it's one of the greatest gifts that we can give back to God is to understand that we as men know that He created us with and for a higher purpose, and that higher purpose is all leading us to the greater good. Want to discover more about stepping into the arena and being part of this group, this alliance of godly men? Go to masculineintothecore.com for sure. Go do the power number assessment, help you understand more about where you are in the 8 key areas that every modern man must master for personal, professional, and spiritual fulfillment. That's a free assessment tool we've got at masculineintothecore.com, but we are going to step right in right now to talking about the spiritual principle of optimism. Here we go.
All right, everybody, welcome. This is Mark Mascola. I want to welcome you to Masculine to the Core, Man in the Arena podcast. This is our Tuesday night edition that we do live called the Campfire Talks. We, for those of you who listen to a recorded version of this, let us welcome you. For those of you, those guys who make a commitment to show up here on Tuesday nights and be part of the conversation, what we do, we have a topic that we talk about. And after the topic, we open the lines up and have a conversation. So I want to welcome everybody. Welcome. The topic for tonight, I'll ask a question just like I always do and then throw out the topic. Here's the question. What is the source of your optimism? What is the source of your optimism? Obviously, we're going to talk about optimism when I talk about the acronym for the word CORE, for masculine to the core, men who are committed, optimistic, resilient, and empowered because they want to be defined by their masculine walk with God. The O is for men who are optimistic, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So let's start, as we always do, with a prayer. Then we'll jump right into the session, and we'll open up the call for some comments. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we invite you into this circle. We ask that you bless us individually and as a group. Guide us to connect with men who, like us, want to be defined by our masculine walk with you. Give us the strength and the courage we need to go from arena to arena, battling our Goliath, knowing that his number one mission is to make us quit before we discover how powerful you created us to be and to become. Bless all of our relationships. Give us the desire to be the husbands and fathers you expect us to be. Bless our finances and our career choices. Give us the desire to be the businessmen you expect us to be. Bless our physical, mental, and spiritual health. Give us the desire to be God-centered and fulfillment-driven. Help us live by the 5 commitments. Help us be willing to do more, to become more, to have more, and ultimately serve more. Amen. So let's talk a little bit about optimism. What's optimism mean? Definition for optimism: hope and confidence about successful outcomes in the future. Hope and confidence about abundant outcomes, positive outcomes in the future. You know, I think optimism is a spiritual principle we have to all learn to live by. We've all heard the glass half full, glass half empty thing, right? Is your glass half, you look at a glass, is it half full or half empty? Here's what I have to help you understand tonight. That whether you're looking at one glass and understand half full or half empty, it's a limiting belief. Understand in God's world, and this is when I talk about the source of your optimism. Does your optimism come from what's going on here on earth? Do you have a spiritual connection to optimism? In the glass half full, glass half empty conversation, understanding God's world there are multiple glasses, and the glasses are always refillable. That is something that I carry into my life. When I created the faith-based personality course called the Warrior's Challenge, because when you look at you look at our masculine journey on earth here as men, our number one quest is to discover our true identity, discover who God created us to be and to become, who we are and whose we are. And the whose is always capitalized for a reason. When I created that faith-based personality course called the Warrior's Challenge, the first module in the course is about discovering your core strengths. Basically, there are 30 strengths that are in the module, and one of them is optimism. And I am what I help guys understand through the Warrior's Challenge is we live in a world where we all love to compare ourselves to the outcomes of others. We love to compare ourselves to others' lives, the things other men have, the things that other men do. But we have to understand that God created each of us unique. The strengths that I have are different from the rest of you who are listening to this. I'm truly grateful. Optimism, when you look at when you do the first module of this faith-based personality course, it's all about you answer a couple hundred questions, and you come up with a list of what your core, your outer core, your neutral, and your lesser strengths are. Well, the highest score that you can get in anything would be your core strengths would be a 20. And my core strength of optimism, I rank at 20. It's one of my core strengths. I have always been hopeful and confident about positive outcomes in the future. And I think men who are optimistic are also spiritually connected, because you have to understand in this conversation of optimism, you have to understand that each of us, while we're unique in our one-to-one connection with God, is based on us, again, discovering who we are, because there's lots of guys in this world that want to figure out their purpose in life. Well, you'll never figure out your purpose until you figure out your true identity. We go through our lives with these false egos attached to everything. And the number one goal for each of us, the number one quest for each of us should be to discover our true identity, an identity that is not connected to our career and our finances, but is used in our career and our finances. An identity that is not connected to our relationships, but is used in our relationships. If you want more information about the Warrior's Challenge and what it's all about, plus information about the upcoming launch of the book, Masculine to the Core, you can get more information at masculinetothecore.com. Lots of really cool freebies and some neat stuff there, so go check that out. So I'm grateful. Again, optimism is one of my core strengths. So much like last week when we talked about commitment, right? I talked about masculine to the core. The C is for men who are committed. The O is for men who are optimistic. And I'll go ahead and give you a little peek into what next week's Tuesday night is going to be. We're going to talk about men who are resilient and what it means to stand toe-to-toe with Goliath. For any of you that know my story, the whole concept of standing toe-to-toe with Goliath, I've faced divorce, addiction, bankruptcy, cancer. People in my family have been ill and passed away. Yet I remain optimistic. And one of the greatest, and I'm going to jump into, like I did last week, I'm going to read several Bible verses about optimism. But one of the greatest things, Ashley and I were talking about this the other day. So many people hear the story of Job in the Bible, right? Job and all of the bad stuff that happened to Job and the diseases he got and the stuff that he had that he lost. And I would I would make a suggestion to each of you to go back and study the story of Job. Because what most people hear in the Bible story of Job, they hear about poor, pitiful Job. But they don't read the first part of the story and understand it. When the devil came to God and said, "Hey, I'm really gonna do the works on Job," and God said to the devil, "Do anything short of killing him, but remember that Job is a faithful man and you won't break him." Would you think that God was optimistic about Job? Go back and read some of the stuff about Job and the poor, pitiful thing. But God had a belief in Job when he said to the devil, "Just do whatever. It doesn't matter." Job's faithful. That Job's courageous. Job's confident. Now listen, go read the Bible story and you're going to hear Job bitching the whole time he was going through all this stuff. But guess what? He went through it and came out the other side. So here are some Bible verses, and while the Bible never specifically uses the word optimism, I'm going to go over several here. And I would suggest that you jump in and do a little study yourself based on optimism in the Bible. Romans 8:13. What then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? Think about this. That means that nothing can threaten the purpose that God has placed on you and in you. When I talk about the mass of men being hiders, posers, and quitters, the only way you experience defeat is to quit. Right? Next week we're going to talk about resilience. But one of the precursors to being resilient is to be optimistic. If you understand that when God is for you, who can be against you, why would you ever quit? Because your optimism would outweigh your desire to quit. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Think about that verse and the declaration. When I talk about masculine to the core and the letter E for men who are empowered, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Isn't this a declaration of empowerment? And how would your life change if you got up every day and started your day with Philippians 4:13? My marriage is struggling, but I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I've got some health challenges, but I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm struggling financially. I need to find something different for me and my family. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. There are people sick in my family, loved ones. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. If you don't want to see the power of God working in, for, and with people, don't watch anything that's going on with the stuff with the floods in Texas. Look at the strength of those families that lost those little girls at that church camp. You know, let's take a moment of silence right now and just say a quick prayer for them and their strength, and that they too, like it says in Philippians 4:13, I can't imagine the horror of losing kids like that. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Romans 8:18, for I reckon that the suffering of this present time are not worthy to be compared to the glory which will be revealed in us. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared to the glory which shall be revealed in us and to us. This verse emphasizes that adversities we experience in present life are insignificant when compared to the glory that God has for us here and beyond. Matthew 19:26, with God, all things are possible. This verse emphasizes the power of God and the unlimited potential, the unlimited possibilities that are available to us through that power. You know, one of the reasons that I'm writing this book, Masculine to the Core, you know, to help men be more God-centered and fulfillment-driven, is to help them understand that while we look at powerful God, right? If you go back to the story in Genesis, on the sixth day, God created man in his image. There is a power that created you in the image of that power. I mean, think about that. When you're talking about being optimistic, again, hope, confidence about positive outcomes in the future. There is a power greater than you that created you in the image of itself. Jeremiah 1:19, they will fight against you, but they shall not prevail against you, for I am with you, declares the Lord. And the last one I have for you, Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in its time, not in our time. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no man can fathom what God has wrought from beginning to end. This verse proclaims God's providential creation and timing, teaching us we cannot fully grasp God's higher purpose for us individually and collectively. So, guys, if you ever want to pick up the phone and talk about optimism, it is something I am absolutely passionate about. Again, it is one of my core strengths. I love talking about it because I get up optimistic every single day. Doesn't matter what's put in front of me. I charge forward. So I'm going to turn the recording off. We're going to open it up for the guys who are here to have a conversation about any of these Bible verses or about anything that we can help strengthen because optimism is a muscle. It's a spiritual muscle, and it's just like exercising and building strength in your muscles. Your optimism grows when you use it. And again, remember, glass is not half full, it's not half empty. There are multiple glasses, and they are always refillable. Again, for those of you listening to a recorded version of this that are going to miss the conversation, come join us on Tuesday night on the Man in the Arena podcast, our Campfire Talks edition. Again, for more information, go to masculinetothecore.com. That's it for the recorded version of this session, and I'm going to turn the recording off, open up the lines. We're going to talk about optimism. Have a great day wherever you are in the world. You absolutely deserve it. Bye for now.
Hey, I sure hope you enjoyed today's video in this series. When you go to masculinetothecore.com, our website, you can get lots of information about what we're doing in the Men's Alliance here. You can find out more about the book and get that, our Tuesday night Campfire Talks. But what we want to get you to do is go here and take this free assessment. There are 8 key areas every fulfillment-driven man must master. Discover your power number. All you've got to do is come to the website, click on this link. It's a free assessment tool. You'll understand more about the power number assessment. If you're on a quest, again, to be more God-centered and fulfillment-driven, first step is to know your power number. Again, masculinetothecore.com is where you get the information. But be sure and watch the next video in this series, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.